Hey, what's up? It's Allegra from City Style, and I am joined today by the incomparable actor, poet, producer, and I would also like to say my friend, Nathan James, who's in town this weekend for his one-man show, Growing Pains. So first of all, Nathan, welcome back to Pittsburgh.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. We go back, so this is going to be a good interview. This is going to be interesting.
Yes, definitely. We go back to, and I have a photo, I did not bring it, but I'm going to find it, of us. Sequence. There was some jazz hands involved. Little Shop of Horrors, yes, good old days. But we've come a long way from Little Shop of Horrors, I would like to say. And so my first question is, for everyone who doesn't know, how did you get your start in acting?
Well, I got my start in acting because of my mother. And it really was because my brother was going to Rogers CAPA Middle School, and I was coming out of Beltsuver Elementary School. And I really just wanted to go to school with my brother. But she was like, you have to have some kind of talent to get in this school. And I was like, oh my God, I don't do anything. And so she said, you know what, you were great in those Easter plays at Ebenezer Baptist Church. So she went and got me You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown from Carnegie Library. I memorized that, I got into Rogers. But the first time that we did some showcase at the Bynum, the crowd was just like roaring at the jokes and everything. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this for the rest of my life. And so that's literally how I got started. So this has been a dream of mine since I was 14 years old.
Well, I know you as a poet, an actor, and a lot of things. You've been on TV, films. Why was it important for you to do this one-man show, to go back to the theater where it all started for you? What was the inspiration behind this?
Well, one of the biggest inspiration behind this one-man show is that I was living here in Pittsburgh, and I wasn't being cast in roles very much. And I got tired of sitting around waiting for an opportunity. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm an actor, I'm a playwright, I'm a poet. Let's just put them all together. And I'm tired of waiting for an opportunity. I'm going to create my own show, I'm going to cast myself, and I'm going to produce it myself. And ever since then, I've just had that attitude. And once I did that show in 2005 at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, because that's where it first premiered, I was like, I can do this. Yeah. I don't have to sit down. I don't have to wait for anybody's validation. I don't have to wait for somebody to give me something. It would be cool if they did, but in the meantime, I'm going to make moves myself.
And I think that's so key because, when we think about actors and being in Hollywood and things like that, we think of the stardom and the money and the big lights. But for most actors that I know, it's really the passion behind it, and doing that for yourself and not waiting for those accolades, like you said, and validating your own self. How has that helped you as an actor?
You have to have love for what you're doing because there's a difference between loving acting and loving the thought of being a star. Right. And sometimes people ask me for acting classes and, I'll be great. I can cry at the drop of a hat. And I'm like, it's much, much more than that. You know what I mean? And so the first thing that I ask people, I say, do you want to be an actor or do you want to be a star? Mm-hmm. Because if you want to be a star, you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain and a lot of disappointment because you are leaving it in other people's hands to validate you. Right. But if you want to be an actor, that means that you will be satisfied with acting. It doesn't come with fans. It doesn't come with bright, shiny lights and signing autographs. Someday it may eventually be that, but if you love acting, and as long as you're working, you'll be happy. Right. If you want to be a star, as long as you're not being a star, which is it's a lottery to becoming a star, then you're setting yourself up for a world of unhappiness.
Right. I always like to say, for every LeBron James, there's a million Tyrone Jenkins that we don't even know. So
I love playing basketball because, if you're waiting to be MVP in the NBA, you got a long line ahead of you,
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about the show Growing Pains.
At least a decade ago, I set out on this journey. Yeah. And after I did my show at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, I was like, I think this has legs. Mm-hmm. And I just never really gave up on it. And I think around here so much, you can give up on your dreams so quickly, and I just was like, I can't. There's something inside of me that's telling me that this is going somewhere. And it's not on Broadway right now or anything, but I'm honored that it's still being requested and that I still have an opportunity to tell this story. And most importantly, I can tell this story to young black men living in Pittsburgh and young black women who want to learn more about young black men and what's going on inside of us that causes us to do what we do.
And let's talk a little bit about what the show is actually about. We know it's a one-man show, so a lot of it is about your life and your experiences here in Pittsburgh. But what's behind the story?
What's behind the story is that right now we are talking about masculinity, particularly black male masculinity. And I think we're having really surface conversations about them. I think it's time to start peeling back those layers and seeing what's up underneath that. Because I always tell people hypermasculinity is nothing but a mask for pain and depression and fears. You know what I mean? But you have to put on this mug. You have to act like nothing's affecting you at all. Meanwhile, you're like soft as, you know, I'm not going to say what on camera, but you know what I mean? Right. But you know, you have fears. You go home, you cry to yourself, you know what I mean? But you wipe them up real quick before you get around everybody, you know? And so it's going up underneath that. And why are we afraid to go there? Why are we afraid to admit certain things about ourselves? Why are we afraid to admit that we've had our hearts broken? And so it's hard for us to open up our hearts again. You know what I mean? Because when you're a man and you go through a heartbreak, you know, you're not going to call your boys over. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to like rub your head while you cry on the pillow. They're going to be like, man up, dog. Come on, man. Get this liquor on you, bro. We going to the club. Get another one, you know? Right. And you're like, yeah, man. Yeah, let's do that. And then you go and you act like you're doing it, and then you go back home and cry. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So why are we so afraid to bring that out into the open? Yeah. So peeling back those layers and getting up underneath it, and hopefully it can help us, you know, with our behaviors, you know? Yeah. I see more opportunities being opened up now, and I wish those opportunities were here when I was here as well, and I hope it gets better. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I can say that I think that the arts community is evolving and emerging. It looks awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're here. So yeah. So I'm so grateful, you know what I mean, to the Cultural Trust, to Janice and the August Wilson Center, because I'm like, wow, okay, it looks like things are getting better around here. And that's awesome. It's a really awesome thing to come back and see. Well, thank you so very much for taking time out to speak with me today. And you can get all the information about Growing Pains this weekend at the August Wilson Center. Check out the website. And any final thoughts? What do you want to say? It's the holiday time. Yeah, come on out, man. Come on, bring a date. Bring your sons, bring your daughters. Come out, have a good time. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, oh, so sad. I mean, there are going to be some really, really funny parts to this. And if you're a person who was in high school in the 90s here in Pittsburgh, you're going to be seeing some things you haven't thought about in years. So come on out. Everybody, come on out. Cool. It's City Style 412.